we have here with us Azmyl Yunor.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Naked Mothership. Right here we have with us Azmyl Yunor and Pablo Saba. Our panelists every week, Dhyan Ho, and Earl Rothstein. And my first question is as to writer, musician, and a poet. Like, when you're coming up with something, what comes first for you? Is it like a turn of phrase, like a lyric that gets in your mind, or the melody or the flow, or is it even before that, like a concept or like a story you want to tell?
Okay.
Either.
Yeah, okay. Well, actually, all those things. It's never one thing or another. When depends on. And sometimes it might be something very fleeting, like you just looking out your window, and that's really nice view, and somehow just meaningful to you in that moment, and something comes through.
Eureka.
Yeah. So I think the key is to just be always there with your butterfly net all the time.
That's really good.
You just gotta always. So there's no one moment like I make my hot drink, I'm sitting down, got my notepad. Yeah, I'm gonna write a song right now. No, it's not gonna work. Yeah. So you just gotta be ready.
It's pretty accurate. I mean, for example, there's just my preoccupation for the last week has been so I'm also in a band called Wasabi Bites, and
nice
they
Great.
it's like electronic bites, you know. Anyway, so the music producer of the group, his name's Graham, and so he sent me the song. He's like, all right, here it is. I need your lyrics, and I'm listening. And I love to work with Wasabi Bites because it's like electronic dance music, right? And I don't know shit about it, right? I didn't grow up on it. I'm like a hip hop head. So it's a challenge to come up with something for it, and that's relevant to dance music. But I love it because it's always challenging. So he sends me the song, the latest one. He's like, all right, here it is, and I'm listening. Not again. Here we go. But then I listen to it, and then these songs are really fast. So like I start with the flow. Okay. So like I start with I try to match the tempo, whatever. Something that like, okay, if I'm thinking about the topic, people need to dance, so maybe I'm gonna talk about some like physical shit or something. And then after like the first hour of listening, I'm like, man, I still don't know what to say. So then I go into my notebook of all the old ideas where I've got my butterflies.
You know that squish them and like.
And so then I go and like the butterfly, the thing that caught me was I look and I'm like, oh, I remember writing this, and it was just a line, literally just a line, which was it was because I was like something. It was there once was a guy who believed he was God, and he got everyone to believe it. I just had that line, and I'm like, fuck. I just like the sound of there once was a guy who believed he was God, and he got everyone to believe it. I just like how that sounds, right?
Yeah, that's staccato. Yeah.
So then I'm like, all right, well, what's the song about?
That doesn't matter.
And then I'm like, dancing's illegal.
Is it about him, or is it the people who believe in it? Right. Yeah.
So God said dancing's illegal. That's what the song's about.
Yeah.
And like so even the song's not finished yet. I still like I have it all written, but I still don't like some of the lines, so I have to switch it up. But the idea itself came from the line, and then how do I make this line make sense? Well, I'm on a dance music track. I want people to dance, so I'm gonna tell them you can't dance.
You can't dance. Don't dance. That's great.
And then it just all falls into place. It's like probably maybe a few of the bars are gonna change. It might change the song, whatever it is, but. Sometimes it's super deliberate. It's like I want to say this thing, and you already have the idea. You already have the message that's
distilled and it's there.
Really then it's make it fit musically or whatever. True. So it's a mix of all of it. It's a mixed bag, man.
Yeah, but I suppose I guess the word flow is quite important because the philosophy of flow is quite important because I think this is where maybe casual listeners kind of like how can you just flow? Because the idea is that sometimes when you get into something. you must have some outcomes that you want. But the pleasure of what probably you do is that like we don't know what's gonna come up, and you go into it, and that's why you enjoy it.
The journey.
The journey, because we're not doing this like some client comes up, can you write a song about this? Yeah, I mean then that's kind of boring. That's why like being a professional full time musician is kind of boring actually. Yeah, well I think this is a lot more, what you call it? What's the word again? There's a bit of elements of improv. There's ideation, and that's the joy.
That's
joy
exactly
of it. Yeah. It's hard for maybe the general public who probably are so used to the idea that because the general narrative
Of getting the finished
Yeah.
part of it, and I was like,
Yeah.
it looks so,
Yeah.
like it sounds so great.
yeah,
like
because,
after,
I was like, wow,
after
but
it's
that,
been
yeah.
polished so many times.
That can't be
Yeah.
just like you just made it up. No, because I think the general narrative about music making is kind of convoluted. It comes from industry, right?
Yeah.
It's very industrial based. So there's a assumption that everything must be rationalized and certain way, then you create it.
And there's a balance, I guess, because so like when you're looking from top down industry
Right.
thing, it's like they're going through that's decision making based off of what works and what's proven to work, right?
Yes.
So you want to strike
They're
a
trying to make a scientific process.
Yeah,
out of it.
yeah,
like
yeah.
K-pop.
The art came
Yeah,
before
yeah,
the machine.
pure, yeah,
the art
purely,
came
yeah.
before the machine
Yeah.
that makes the art.
100%. Like
Yeah.
so, like K-pop is like peer reviewed fucking research.
Yeah,
Like you know what I mean? Like
it is like does this fulfill this? Yeah.
But like, so you want to balance it because that stuff works. Like the things they find out that work, whether it's a certain melody or a key or like, every year there's a trendy key.
Yeah.
And because everyone's
great.
tuned
Very-
into
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Like a formula they sort of use each time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's that with a little bit of how can I add my flavor to it. So like again the flow, right?
Yeah.
There once was a guy who believed he was God, and he got everyone to believe it. If you listen to like the more popular rap music these days, it has that da 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 da.
Snoop, there's like a clip that Snoop Dogg has that, where like a lot of like rappers are all sounding the same. That it's
Yeah.
and it becomes part of the, but it becomes part of the. It creates like a genre instead of like artist.
Yeah.
That's right. So it like, and this is where people are like, oh, I'm more about I'm not too concerned about my lyrics. It's more about the vibe of the song. You know what I mean? So like that's so usually that's a really they call it a triplet flow, right?
Yeah.
And it's usually, you're right. It has become a genre of a genre of hip hop called trap music, which most trap rappers have that flow. Like again, I don't have to explain it, but yeah. So I know it works. And it is nice. It sounds nice. So it's not when you're rapping da 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 da, right? So you wanna kind of make that balance of like, okay, I'm still saying something,
Right.
but the flow's nice and it creates the vibe still.
Yeah.
You know?
And it allows people who have absolutely no rhythm sometimes to just get into it, right? Oh, I can't do this. Yeah.
100%. Like I used to. It's crazy, but before I ever like gave attention to street dancers, like break dancers, poppers, and lockers, I would only ever listen to the lyrics of songs. Right? That's 100% attention on only the lyrics.
Yeah.
So I'm missing about everything else.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'm watching these dancers dance, and like they're doing these little movements in tune with certain parts of the arrangement of the song. I'm like, oh, what the like like my ears have been have unlocked like 100 levels of Michael Jackson songs just by watching
from his choreography. That the choreography, like that you learn something about the song based on watching him dance through it. That it's
watching
like
other people dance to it.
The dance interprets the song, and then now you're reinterpreting the song again through the dance.
Exactly, and then you realize, this guy was a genius. It's not just the music. It's not just what he wrote, but he also he made the arrangements.
Yes.
So like there's little bells and whistles in every Michael Jackson song that, thanks to poppers and lockers, I understand. Yeah. And if I didn't see them, I'm still only I wanna rock with you. That's all I'm tuned into.
The thing is that like that also you can be big pop star. No, it's more than they don't dig them. Yeah, that's so true. So true.
And it is, like you said, it's reductive because the average person doesn't know to tune into. I didn't know to tune into it. You know what I mean?
True. But that's when I think it reveals itself a lot more. When you see a body of works, whether it's pop or what, if you just layers and layers just get uncovered. If you pay more attention to it,
man.
then you start realizing, wow, there's depth to this, and there's also the whole cultural chauvinism against something that's pop and classical, right? There's a big chasm there, right? High and low culture, but I don't think that needs to be there.
Yeah, I mean, that
shouldn't be there.
That's just bougie shit, you know what I mean?
Bougie shit, yeah.
Like,
it's sad.
Making that's elitism. I mean, that's classic. That's completely fair with any.
But you see the academy, any kind of music school, it's still very bougie. As you put it, it is.
Yeah.
And there's no element of really looking at the cultural, the social, and political elements. It's kind of like plotted out, and just looking at notes on the paper and how does it work. Yeah, it's reductive. That's right. But it works for the industry. Yeah, because they can rationalize it and put in a proposal.
And for a lot of people, that's the aim to elevate something from proletarian to bougie. When you're talking about getting that paper, it's like
I think it's the natural life cycle of any genre, culture, art. Like
is that push and pull?
Yeah, like in the 80s, people were saying, "Oh, fuck rap! Oh, you guys are just copying." Like
listen to anything but rap and country, and now like the number one song is both.
Exactly it. Yeah. And it's just once it literally it's the breakthrough thing, and it's the same with fashion. Say what you want about Kanye West, right? But Gucci makes sneakers now. Because Kanye West. Made a sneaker that everyone talks shit about, and oh, how dare he enter fashion? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, you see all these high fashion brands. You walk through M. Quartier Mall, where in the floor with Louis Vuitton, whatever. They all have sneakers now. They all have sneakers now.
Yeah.
And why? Because they hired the guys that Kanye hired to design those sneakers.
Yeah.
And it's because it became the high fashion.
Yeah. It ain't just for sports anymore.
Yeah. It's true.
So I think it's like the natural life cycle,
the circulation just keeps on going and going. Yeah, it's fascinating.
Even in the hip hop world, everyone looks down on trap music. Oh, it's very whatever. There's no substance to it. There's no level of thinking to it, whatever. But
a lot of chords in rock are sort of paint by numbers in that way, but that's not necessarily what the song is judged by. It's kind of judged by a little bit of your stage presence when you actually perform it live, but also just
also what you want to say, probably. I mean,
exactly. The content of the
content. I mean that's
what's lyrical.
That's like punk rock. I mean, it's always fascinating. And punk rock was just trying to grab back what rock and roll is about in the 70s, because prog rock and all this inflated stuff, 20-minute solos, and bring back to this, and you don't really have to know how to play guitar, just know 2 chords or 3, and that's empowering, right? And so it's similar to that.
That's what it is.
It's about that. So it's about reclaiming, and this reclamation it's cyclical. It will happen, and you got to reclaim again. It's 100%. All right.
Like you put the sampler for the kid who didn't get his musical education.
Yes.
He doesn't have to know the chords. He samples it, but he can participate.
Yeah. And he can thumb it also. Somebody says, you don't know how to play chords. Like, fuck, you can do this.
I can still create the vibe.
Yeah. Look at the people, they're reacting it better, man. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah. And it's really not genre bound too, right? That conversation about genre is purely industrial.
It's how to market it. And how
and that splits up musicians. Like, okay, what you want to do? What genre?
How do we get the first listener?
Exactly. When actually, I think we're all in the same pool, man. Yeah, but of course the man doesn't want that, right?
Well, again, it's not easy. Like you said, it's not easy to put in a proposal.
Exactly. This be like that. True.
So that's actually part of so with Wasabi Bites, right? It's dance, electronic dance, but with a little bit of hip hop, right? So every time we've done a lot of live shows for both subgroups, and it kind of doesn't resonate because the hip hop people are like, whoa, what's this electronic stuff? And electronic people are like, yo, what's with all this rap? You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So and people don't know what to make of it
Yeah.
until, like you said, the stage presence. That's for I don't mean to toot my own horn, but that's where like I can kill, right? Like give me a mic and a crowd, and I'll do the charisma.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So
That's true.
I get the rap guys like, you know, I get in their face and I'm rapping. I'm like, yo, you can't deny this flow that I'm spitting at you, right? And then the dance people, I get them to dance. I'm like, yo, get the fuck on your feet. Like that's half of what I'm saying.
Glue it together, create the chemistry
yeah,
so
yeah.
that it sticks. That
Yeah,
it bonds.
because you need people need that permission to lose themselves in a music, and usually they're only comfortable if it is a rap thing or like, yo, I only know 80s dance, so I'm only gonna lose it to that 80s dance stuff. You know what I mean? So how do you like you said, cross those chasms and allow people to just take it for what it is? That's the real trick of like when you say how do you come up with an idea or an art? That's what you want. That's the goal, right? Like I think people are gonna like this. And how can I dress it up in ways that, like, you know, like you put the broccoli mixed with other shit that the kid's gonna eat.
Yeah. How do you make
Add
them?
the cheese.
Yeah. You gotta have those elements in. You know, you can't just like be Puritan and like, no, this is all about. It doesn't work.
Because at the end of the day, sure, you don't want to be the guy that fits into a proposal, but you do want it to succeed. So you have to look at what works. You know, like you're not like if you're gonna start a bar, you're gonna see what's around, what's working,
Location.
You're gonna say, okay, how can I make it different? But what's already working? You know, what's the business model? What's whatever? You know, am I gonna do only coffee bar because I don't drink alcohol? Maybe that's not a good idea because you're not in a Muslim country or something. You know, maybe it might work in. It definitely works in Indonesia.
They love their coffee there.
I've been in a coffee shop till 3 a.m. and in Indonesia.
Just drink coffee,
and
man.
It's lit.
It's more like a bar, but it's
They drink coffee. Caffeine is their choice.
Because like you can't like if.
But just have 2 or 3, so you get really wired on it.
I think they're probably more than that. The plus is you can smoke there.
Oh, of course.
So on top of that,
that's great.
straight up.
It's
They're proud of that.
It's non-stop. Like so I've been to I'm in another band. It's called Nasi, right?
Rice.
It's called Nasi. And so this is me and my boy. His name is Adi. He's also this is hip hop music. This is like the boom bap shit. This is how I make my boom bap shit. And so Adi lives in Aceh.
Okay.
And Aceh is
the
most conservative part of Indonesia. Like you know, like so Aceh, they have this rich, like heritage that they're so proud of because they fought off Dutch colonization like a bunch of times, and even after like the Dutch, you know, they couldn't keep a handle on Aceh, and when they gave it back they gave Indonesia back to Indonesians. Even Aceh was still like, yo, we were never under Dutch control, so we're technically not Indonesian.
We're an independent country. We're not part of this.
Yeah. So because you look at the map, right? North Sumatra and then it's Aceh.
Exactly. And yo, it's crazy, but yo, you see it when you're in that amidst in the culture, you see the pride that they have, and it's very validated. And there's a kind of dark history because they had a lot of war between Acehnese and Indonesia. But now it's over. But if you go and you listen to Aceh hip hop, it's very traditional style. But it's not at a bar. You're not going to like tonight, right? Tonight there's gonna be a show. There's gonna be people with beer in their hand having a good time. That still happens without the beer in Aceh. You know what I mean?
That when they loosen up because that's not like they've ever needed beer to loosen up before. It's been about the music that they love.
Exactly, man.
It's very different,
And they're still striking the balance because you know, like the hip hop community in Aceh is they're in this space where it's like in a culture that's very skeptical about outside influence. So they say, wait, what is this hip hop stuff? It comes from New York, from America. What is this? Like, you know, like let's be real. Indonesians are very skeptical about American empire to begin with, especially the the secessionists of
Yeah.
Indonesia. You know what I mean? Like, yo, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
So they exist in this space where they have to strike a delicate balance where they're in adherence to Sharia law, because that's the legal system in Aceh, but still in adherence to the hip hop principles, which are like at face value they seem to be diametrically opposed. But man, the way they do it and the way they make it happen is amazing. I don't even know. I forgot why I brought it up.
No, but that's an important point because
from coffee shops. Yeah.
coffee shops. Yeah. I did 2 tours in Java, Indonesia, and this was in the folk scene. And most places we play at cafes again because primarily this was places where it's a lot more. I mean, they don't charge at the doors. That's another thing, very different about the gigs there. But also the very fact that these are spaces where, and one thing I love about Indonesia is also the fact that there's such a general sense of cohesion between the music, the visual arts, any kind of form, and they're so articulate in blending the political, the social, cultural, and being from Malaysia, of course, like that's why when we're telling my friends, when the fellow musicians were folk musicians were touring Indonesia, I said, look, when we're going to Indonesia, we're more like, hi, we exist, rather than like, look at us, and that's why I think the way I see a lot of Malaysians don't go to Indonesia. A lot of bands will go there. They kind of feel like they don't know how
are we gonna break through?
Yeah. So I think because they got the idea of breaking through, whereas when we went there, no, we're not breaking through. We're going there.
We're just here.
We're here, and we also want to learn. We love, and I admire a lot of Indonesian musicians, especially the folk guys, because this is stuff that never crossed over Malaysia. Kind of political, very hard-hitting stuff. But when I discovered that, wow, I went back there and I was like, wow, interesting, man. So, and again, like you said, it's just the sense that the notion of what is a live music event is so different, and it's almost a different definition. Whereas I think in Malaysia things are more standard. People are kind of very straight laced, like oh, it's club, woo, drink a hand. Like no, you can just do it in a cafe. But you go to cafes in Malaysia, probably people playing some lame ballads and acoustic guitars. Whereas in Indonesia, who cares? Acoustic guitar is a guitar. Yeah. It's an instrument. That's it's not like puts me in this mode of like, you can be like fucking angry.
Oh,
you
can
thrash.
Chords. It's a guitar.
Yeah. So
you need 15, 20 minutes to set up. Take
just
the guitar.
Fucking play, man. It's fascinating. So that's that. I mean, I think that's the empathy you have probably once you go to like places like Indonesia and it's big. I mean, you can be a full time doing the stuff because it's huge. Yeah. So interesting, man.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the main point is, the what works, whether it's corporate with a corporate mindset or appeasing the local culture mindset. It's always a balance. Even like I have some things, some poems or some songs that can be very political that maybe I'm not gonna perform in Aceh.
Yep. Yeah, you gotta have that awareness bit. Yeah, that's true. That's pretty funny. Yeah.
And there's a difference between censorship and moderation.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And because you can take the full friction route where it's like, no, I'm gonna stick to my values and fuck you if you don't agree. That's cool, but like in some places, if you do that, they'll put a fatwa on your head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, you'll just like come off as like an imperialist. What right do you have?
Yeah, you coming here and like
and but then at the same time, it's like at the opposite side of the coin is like, so I'm going back to Aceh. Is like punk rock in Aceh is hard.
Yeah.
So before I went to Aceh, I was like, yo, what's up with this spot? I need to do my research, because everyone said, yo, what are you doing? I'm going over there. And I'm like, yo, Adi, what am I doing going over there? You know what I mean? And he's like, yo, fake news. Don't worry, it's all bullshit. The Western media. So then I'm like, all right, but like I saw this band that got kicked out of, like, this. So I'm looking at all these things, and if you look at some Vice documentary about punk rockers,
they got raided and they got sent to some camps and shaved,
But the thing is, that is political. Punk rock is inherently political.
Of course. It is inherently political.
So they're like,
Same with rap and folk. Yeah.
So the difference between like the punk rockers and the hip hoppers in Aceh is the hip hoppers are kind of with the culture, where the punk rockers are like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
You know, they're against maybe not the culture, but the system of power that is reinforced by the culture.
And just ways of living, isn't it? More counter-cultural. Yeah.
So that's a problem because I'd say maybe this is a criticism of hip hop in Aceh, but they're not challenging the status quo. They're saying what they're doing is like, yo, this is Aceh. This is us.
But this is where that's where they're from. They're rapping where it's
and that's hip hop as fuck, right? Now the question is like, okay, but there's room for all kinds of expression, right? Because there are the conscious rappers, and there's the this is have good time music. Snoop Dogg is like have a good time rapper. You know, he's not gonna. I mean, he will say fuck Trump, but he's not gonna like go on a political discourse like a Malcolm X would. Say, these are our points. These are our arguments. This is what needs to change.
not Tupac.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. True.
So there's space for that, but I wouldn't say in a place like Aceh, I wouldn't say there's room for it there. But yeah, I mean, it's a balance. It's like, what do you want to do? What is your goal? If you're trying to just succeed, you gotta go with what's popular and mix it with your style. That's what I'd say. If you're not doing that, then you can't succeed. But I'd say along the way, you want to be able to bring people to where you are. Like this is really what I'm about, and I'm massaging you into that. You know what I mean? So like, here's a little poppy sounds. Here's a little the good stuff people like to hear, and then the world is fucked up.
He nailed it. I mean, that's how I work. You know, people see me acoustic or whatever band, and I'm like, I'll check out a gig, but I use a space in between my songs. The banter is powerful. You got a mic, man. The mic and the power, right? And
And once you put forth that charisma, that's really what matters. It's like you hook someone, you have their attention, you do it with the song, then it's like, now that I have your attention, check this song out.
Yes, exactly. That's so true. And that's why I think a lot of, like I said, the casual listener or observer wouldn't get like, why are you doing this? It's like, oh man, it's like, and you know, like a place like Malaysia, which seems like kind of like there's certain levels of conservatism that people assume happens, but actually it's a lot more freer than it seems. But people choose to be more safe. And I've kind of like poked everywhere and said, "Fuck, nothing's happened." And, you know, you got to be smart about it. Nothing's happened. So I've done stuff that potentially could be, you know, like, but at the same time, kind of aware of my scope. You know.
You always got it.
You gotta be, because that's where, because it's also
Don't
about being
blind.
Because you want to keep this sustainable, right? People use the word sustainable now for environment, but it's also about making you. You want to keep on doing this, right?
Lively.
I'm gonna throw you somewhere in some hole, then you can't do your art anymore. So what's the point, right?
I'm gonna bring up Kanye West for the last time.
Okay.
So like,
we won't hold you to that.
Bring it on, man.
So that's what, like, so now he's a born again Christian.
Right.
That's the news, right?
Yeah.
Well, why? Because he already has the attention of 1/2 of the American population.
Now he wants that. Smart.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
promoter through and through. And
whatever.
That's why because it's Trump. And I was like,
this is a guy who said, "Yo, I'm running for president."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, no matter what you want to say, whatever you might be mad at him today, but like, if you're someone like me, you're still gonna go back to his stuff and you're gonna love it. You know, you're never gonna cancel him fully, and you're still gonna give him the attention when he puts something new out.
Yes.
So now what he's doing is he's like, all right, I got you in the bag. Now we're gonna go to Bible Belt America, and we're gonna appeal to these folks. And once his message has broken through, now he has their attention, and then he can start to mix it up. You know, it's like
he's already doing his presidential kind of like campaign.
Maybe it really is a campaign.
Maybe it'll end. Like, I wouldn't put it past him to attempt it, but at the end of the day, that's literally what it is. It's like, like, you know, especially American culture, we're so divided. You know, the only way is like, you gotta piss off the folks that are already on your corner to get the other folks to listen to you.
True. You can't just appease them all the time. That's so true. That's why a lot of people just want to appease their little corner, right? Without going the other end. That's a problem. Yeah.
And I think an artist should be able to synthesize the information and the points of view coming from all directions, and be able to kind of like what we're doing here is like there'll be people watching. Maybe someone relates to me, maybe someone relates to you, and you all separately, and through this discourse, they can hear your opinion, and I'm not here like, oh, whoa, wait a minute, I'm out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So artists should be able to do that. They should be able to like listen to what the housekeeping staff is saying, and then sit at the table of the owner of the building and be like, still be able to manage it. You know, to keep it like. Not betray yourself, but still keep it real. You know what I mean?
That's soft power, right? Using your soft skills, you know, in that way, and that's very powerful. Potential, man. Yeah, not just go on stage and try to sell shit. That's what they're doing now, right? now what the whole influencer thing is fucking funny, man. Like I've seen some Malaysian indie kids come out. So the whole Instagram's like, yeah, I'm trying out Nike today. Yeah, thanks. So okay. So next one's like some other fucking thing. Yeah, I went for a facial today. It's like, when's your next gig, man? Fuck off. Is that what you're all about? Yeah, so.
Gotta pay the bills.
Yeah, gotta pay the bills. That's why. See, they can't keep it real because they're sucking up all the time, you know? So.
And that's a balance too.
You're like a cultural researcher as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, because the last time you were in Bangkok, you were here for some conference. How did you first get into, how did you first get interested in this sort of stuff?
Just teaching part time, really. I was teaching subjects in culture studies, which is kind of politics and media. I was teaching a film program, so that's always been part of my work, and I've always felt the sense that you know, like, such a superficial divide in film, music, and the other arts, and you start to see the structural thing, and that's why I thought, like, look, I think education is the next frontier, so I'll stick to this. It's the longest job I ever held. It's like more than a decade. So it's fine. And because I think there's meaning to it, and my work outside of it allows me to it's very relevant. And really I'm on the ground, and you know, and I share this with students, and it informs my research. So I think it's I feel blessed that I found this kind of, but you know, but that's the thing. You meet other academics, and they tend to research in the sense that, how do I should say? It's like you're going to the savannah, you're going to make a documentary about lions, so you got to hide in the bushes, and you know. Whereas I'm with a lion, I'm eating a lion. Hey, a lion, yeah. What the fuck, man? Yeah, you know. So a lot of the academics tell me, hey, man, you should start doing research on this. Really, is that valid? Because like then I started reading up. Yeah, I found my niche in the you could say in the academia, especially dealing with music subcultures, because I didn't know that shit wasn't being written before. I thought somebody had. And I realized, then I'm like, wow, cool. And I'm trying to encourage also, I'm also trying to encourage like friends who are making music, like, hey man, because the perception of academia is, again, that, right? The old dusty old professor, you know, ranting, and I was like, so it's not the case. Not all of them are like that.
That it's stuffy, that the end goal is the certification.
Yeah, exactly.
Learning.
Yeah. I feel really, really, what I call it, what's the word again? When people say, you're a fucking lecturer? Academics, I like that, because it's like 21 Jump Street. No, it's like, I don't look the part, but you know, well, I'm embedded, you know, I am in it. So
I think that's really awesome, because for me, I kind of see the world similarly. I see things through the lens of culture, like I mean, so a city like Bangkok, a city like Miami, is even San Francisco, right? It's like culture. It's negotiating and navigating between cultures is the skill set. Right.
Yeah.
And it's magnetic, so it brings people in. So you're gonna have to.
Yes.
And and understanding that, knowing that, like, okay, for example, here we are again broadcasting to the internet, right? Maybe someone in Argentina's watching.
Yeah.
Right. So how do we manage the dissemination of culture where we know that some cultures are diametrically opposed to each other, but it's inevitable they're going to encounter each other?
Yep.
So this is, for me, this is that's the question I'm trying to answer with like all the stuff, whether it's the music or poetry. You know, the Bangkok Lyrical Lunacy, our mission is to create culture and community, knowing that a culture is the sum of the inputs. Yeah. Right. So whether like you said, even if it's just the educational side of things, but you're a musician, you're bringing two things together. Dance and hip hop, you're bringing two things together. The electric guitarist, thrasher, who was like, "Yo, sorry, we only got the acoustic one today. Like, I'll make it work."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The point is, like, I'm here to. It's about culture. It's how do we create this moment that we can all identify with, and then have someone else witness it and be like, "Yo, I'm about that."
Yeah.
You know that. Yeah, I don't. That's what you just said. Like that's you have the coolest job on earth. Like you really do, because I think the problems that we're gonna solve in the next 100 years, before we do any of that, we have to solve that culture problem. You know, it's like half the planet, maybe probably not half the planet, but you know, if we're looking at the news, half the discourse is, yo, we don't believe these statistics about our climate and this and this and that. And really what that is there's a cultural disconnect.
Yeah, cultural disconnect. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
There's a group that exerts power over the state of things, who is very interested in keeping things the way they are. We're not going to turn the ship. Because I made this 20-year plan and I'm like 15 years in.
Yeah, exactly. Because they've got a proposal. We got all the fucking funding. We can't fuck this up, right? What is fuckers? Yeah.
But then
there's also funding to kill these fuckers up. Okay.
So and they're the ones. All right. So like that's not real. This is fake.
Yeah.
So like we all have to be able to look at something and say, "Yo, that's blue."
Yeah.
You see that? That's blue, right? Yeah, that's blue.
Right,
but
come on, man.
Create a consensus, create a truth. And it's like I hadn't really thought about it until just now. How similar that being an artist on stage to being a lecturer in academia, and also being an influencer just online. That it's you might think it's about like it's not about the personal. You at first glance it might seem like about the personal self discovery. It's about the audience. It's about the culture. It's about creating that consensus.
Yep.
100%.
So true, man. Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do with art, is we're trying to create consensus. That consensus is like, oh, yo, I see your point of view. Oh, whoa, I never saw shit like that. Maybe I need to switch mine up. And I can't do that unless, first of all, I respect you. Second of all, you know, I know you're not like loopy in the head. You know what I mean? You know, like you're down to earth dude. You know, that's what we want. We want to relate to people who are down to earth just like us. So like, you know, what they used to say.
Yeah, nobody wants to waste their time. Like if you feel like nothing's like gonna change by talking to someone or like by putting something out, that's just like depressing and like it eats at you inside.
And it's also you're respecting people to, hey, listen up. And I respect your time. And just give it time. Not like some salesman, right? Going to buy this.
This is not a pyramid scheme.
But sometimes you also like somebody doesn't want to listen. Like, okay, fuck it lah. You know, I'm not gonna force you. You're lost.
That's what it is, man. You know, it's
know when to put the fish back.
It's interesting because in this greatly more corporatized world, right? Everything has to be rationalized when people kind of forget that, you know, art making is not within that discourse. It's kind of like, you know, around it. And it's not, doesn't mean it's better. So people who are not arty or they're not artful say, they probably might feel like, what makes you better? So no, we're not above you, man.
That's the whole point. We're not.
We're not. It's like, so that's because, you know, like at least for me, maybe I'm sure some of you do. If you're creative, people say, oh, he's creative. Yeah, you creative people are different. You know, yeah, you're so passionate. It's like, I'm trying to demystify that. No, you could be too.
All we're doing is making connections between things that maybe someone didn't catch. You know what I mean? Like that's it. Like you know, it's like, whoa, I saw they're doing this thing over here, and like it kind of reminds me of this. What if I kind of take elements of both and put it together, and it's something that people can still feel used to, but it's new. It's a new twist. Like, I don't know, like lemon coke, lime coke.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
where did that all come from, right? What didn't come out from fucking lab? It was just people putting it in, like, hey, that kind of works, yeah.
And even with like business, right? Like anyone who's starting a business and has succeeded wildly, they're gonna say, well, sure, I put in a lot of work, but it's nothing no one else can do. More than anything, I got lucky, right? Yeah. For us, we're the line we made that everyone like is like, yo, that's the shit. That's luck. You know, we thought it was cool. Yeah. We believed in it, and then we put it together, and then someone maybe they didn't think, and then, oh fuck it, all right, whatever. But then it's like, yo, that's the one. That's the song right there. You know, yes. Like you don't know what's a hit. Yeah. It's luck. Yeah. But then again, it's also being in the lab a bit.
Yeah, of course, yeah. You got to keep on doing that. It's not something you just mull about and then you get to it. You got to keep on doing it. You know, it's a craft, right? You get better at it. It's like a cook. It doesn't just think, right?
They used to have a Coke with coffee in it about 4 months ago, and every 7-Eleven. I love that shit. Yeah. Oh. I thought it was delicious. Now it's nowhere. It looks like it was a flop, right? Oh. So
the stats didn't mean.
Yeah, so someone's like, oh, this might be a good idea.
Yeah, I used to drink like Vaults all the time. That's been dead for 10 years.
Wow.
I think at one time they just changed it so there's always a new product. So it doesn't matter whether it sells.
That's what we've been talking about about chips.
So
yeah, that's annoying, right? Because
new product, and then they'll kind of they would call it, okay, this didn't do well. And they'll remember that for next time.
Exactly.
But they just know people always want something new, so there's always going to be like.
And it's just ideas. Something. You see what sticks, right? It's just like there's a science to it, but also not. And it's just like what does the culture accept?
Yeah. That's the thing. So that pisses you off, right? You got hooked to this flavor of chips or whatever. Then like one day you go, it's not there anymore. It's like, yes, man, fucking listen. I'm your loyal customer. Fuckers. Yeah. Oh well, move on next chip. Yeah, but it's fascinating. I think that the thing about just doing things, I think that is also another thing, right? Just keep at it, and damn the torpedoes, whatever happens, you just do.
That's right.
Keep at it, yeah.
Just produce, put out shit.
That's artists get even if they have a huge like cult following, it becomes a cult. Like you get tired of the cult. Like you want to move. Like the artist wants to move on.
Yeah. I mean, there's guys like Dylan who suddenly the protest scene caught up to him, and like, it's not. I did it, and it kind of fit your space, but this is not what I'm about. I'm gonna do. This my thing. I want to
go electric.
Yeah,
now,
and he had the balls to just like, move on.
He had more fans when he go electric now. I want to.
Whereas now the tendency is different, right? If you're like, oh, you're going to that or crap, oh, maybe this I'll get into that market, then you fucking betray yourself. So I think the biggest person you could betray is yourself. I think if you can't live with that, So
if you just hollow out,
So you're sure you're successful and whatever fuck, but like can you deal with yourself? Apparently some people can. So what to do? I don't know if they can. Maybe that's why they do drugs. I don't know. Yeah, but it's art making. Time to demystify art, isn't it?
Yeah.
With this whole thing of ooh, creative guys. We got
it's not
ponytail,
a huge thing. Like I always tell. So we do poetry shows.
Yeah.
I always tell people like, oh my god, that poem. How could you do something like that? Like, yo, anyone can do this shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, how do you feel? Write it down. Edit it.
Yeah.
Make it, put some rhythm to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's gonna suck.
Yeah.
If it's your first one, it's gonna suck.
Get real to that. Yeah.
Be brave enough to show it to people. Be brave enough.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the skill. Is like, all right.
Yeah.
Actually, I this week I accomplished something that I've been scared to do for many years that I finally did on Tuesday, which was stand-up comedy.
Oh man, that's terrifying.
Right? That's what I've been saying for 3 years.
Yeah.
I can never do this.
Wow.
And so I'm like, I went to open mic. I was like, fuck it, I'll try it. And I was scared, and it sucked. But that's the point.
Yeah.
Like you have to know it's gonna suck, and you have to be willing to take that punch in the gut. and then come back the next time and suck again, and then come back and suck again until you find, finally they laughed at this thing. Let me focus here.
It's hard work, man. Stand up. I mean, similarly, this year I did the same thing. I love stand up comedy. A lot of my heroes are. So early this year, I had a friend who got to know his friend who runs a stand up comedy club. I said, Wednesdays nights are the open mic. So I did a 3-minute thing. Surprisingly, even he was like, that's kind of nice. But before I went on stage, I had ideas. I was writing down what I should talk about. And I was like, fucking remember, I'm just going to talk about whatever. And that worked. It's like, so it wasn't telling jokes. It was just telling. And this was I was telling recently. I was at a university lecture performance. I was saying that, I think any country that you have the mainstream comedy where people do stupid shit and people laugh, right? So they're laughing at you. I think effective stand-up comedy on the art is that they're laughing along with you. They're not laughing at you because you're making faces and stupid shit. So it's
about something.
About something, yeah. So I realized that you're sharing
or
stories.
The contrast.
Yeah. So I mean that's why I think the self-deprecation part is such a big part of young comedians because you make fun of yourself and people kind of like, okay, I can relate to that. Yeah. You don't go on stage, I'm the best, yo. It's not like him. You can't do that. It's different. Stand-up's like, but you did it too, huh? They're good, man.
It's good.
It's good,
tough,
man. It's hard work, dude. Oh, man.
Yeah, but like, I wouldn't say, so comedy is not like poetry because anyone can do poetry. Like, anyone could do, this is my thesis to the life. You can do spoken word poetry. Just write something, be honest, and what the comedian does, it's the same type of risk, it's the same fear involved. Yeah. But like,
it's not about you when it's comedy. What poetry is about your self-expression. Comedy is about it's the performance. It's getting everybody into it, but it's also
I'd say it's I'll say they're both the same in one way where you're trying to communicate a truth, right? Yeah. So like, in comedy, what makes the thing funny is that something's true and I know something's true.
Yeah, that yes.
And like, we brought attention to something and
realize
okay. Yeah. So in poetry it's the same, but it's like, what, you feel that way too? I feel, I thought I was the only one. Yeah. That's what, like, at the end of a poetry set, like, someone will come, this thing you said, it was my thing. That's what a poet looks for, right? Yep. That's the equivalent of a laugh. It's like, you said the thing that's true. I'd say where it's different is that the poet, like, there isn't a bar of success. Like, there isn't, you didn't make me laugh, so you didn't do well. Yeah. Right? In the poetry, it's like, all right, you did a thing. Fucking damn, I don't think I could talk about that shit in my life. Yeah. But like, big ups. Yeah. Like, though, that's what they give the poet the credit for. Is like, man, like, fuck, you brave to talk about that thing. Yes, right? Yes. So I think that's where the difference is. But at the end of the day, it's you're trying to find cultural cues again, seeing what you know to be true. Yeah. So like, if I'm in this room and I'm like, all right, I'm trying to tell a joke. Yeah. All right, where's everyone from? Yeah. Australia, San Francisco, KL. How can I synthesize something that we all know to be true and like try and make a joke about it, right? So like, the one joke that worked while I was there this week is a joke about smog. You know what I mean? And that was literally it. I was like, okay, everyone in this room is dealing with smog. Yeah. So let me make a joke about smog. You know what I mean? True. And so it didn't get a big laugh, but there was a few chuckles. You know what I mean? More than I expected.
I think there's a humor to it, like in Gallows humor. It's like it goes into like climate change, like how the status quo doesn't really want to admit that part, so it becomes like a little ridiculous about it. Like we're breathing it in every day, we're swimming in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But that thing about cultural cues is very important because I think that really opens up your proverbial third eye, and then you're more perceptive to things, right? You notice the conversations around you. Right? And I think that when you start making stuff, that you inherently will turn on this. You will start being more aware. Okay, where they're from, and then we realize that hey, we share something similar. Whether you're humanist or whatever, maybe right. Yeah. So it's powerful.
Yeah, but you're trying to intersect those lines, you know, like because there's all kinds of different experience and perspective just between four people. Like, okay, we're from the same country, but on two opposite sides of the same country. That's like, you know, the size of Indonesia.
There's a literal distance.
It's big. It's big.
So it might as well be another country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I met people from Wyoming. I'm like, yo, we do not relate. You know what I mean?
We speak same language, but different cultural experience.
No, we have the same passport.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
So it's like that, whereas like, but then again, it's like here we are. There's a lot that a Thai person and a Cambodian person can relate to. Just proximity.
Yeah, proximity. Yeah.
Proximity that someone who's Thai who grew up in San Francisco couldn't relate with someone who's Thai who grew up in Bangkok.
Of course. Yeah.
So that's what like, whatever with comedy. That's I think you always have to do that. But with poetry and with music, I think it's the same. It's like, all right, how can I draw those lines out that like by the time you finish hearing me, you're like, all right, that guy gets me a bit, you know, or at least I don't know, like he said something worth something, and you only think that if like I did something where you can relate to, said something you can relate to, brought up an experience or a truth that you can relate to. Yo, we're swimming in smog. You know what I mean? Like the joke I wanted to make isn't the one that came out. I wanted to make the joke about, yo, the weather's fresh and shit. So like open up your window. You know what I mean? But then like you're gonna be swimming in smog.
True.
But what came out was like, yo, living in Bangkok is like Russian roulette, but it's like how many years you can live without lung cancer. So, but either way, everyone knows. All right, it's about smog. We deal with this shit.
True. I went for the jugular, and my I just went on. I didn't want to say, but what bugs me is like, okay, being a Malay Muslim guy, buying beer fucking pisses me off. So that you know, not buying beer, you know. I'm lucky I don't really look Malay, so I play along the part. So I mean, like, I think they got some chuckles, and I think they will relate. Yeah, it's and it wasn't the thing that the one I was writing. What should I write about? Threw that out. Yeah. And what was going on there. And again, that's culture cues. You're on stage and you're looking at people. Okay, let's see what happens. But you gotta be quick, lah. You can't be like, oh, wow, give me a second.
Everyone has a pen to get punched in the face.
Exactly. You gotta be ready for that too.
The script you wrote didn't
work.
The script, you look at my phone, I have a whole script for how I said I was gonna go. Out the window the moment you look at the crowd. Oh,
but maybe that's important part of the process, that you had to do the script in order to throw it out. You know, then you know what you don't need to do. Yeah. So that's the thing. Some people might think, oh, I worked so hard on the script, I should read it. No, throw it out. So
that you failed, that it was good. That it's good that you failed. That you published it, and now you know more for the next time.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Research, bro.
It is
research.
Not everybody can be a prodigy, right? Like, and even if you are a prodigy, then it's like
there's a lot of development involved.
But it doesn't help. You see, the popular media elevates the genius and all this. But you know, you see any film about some piano genius, these guys' lives are fucked up. But people still send the kids to play piano, right? I don't get it. Like, you only see the genius, right? You see the film, what happened here, and then he became cuckoo. Have you watched Shine? You fucking went nuts. Still send your kids to piano lessons. Did you see that part? You saw the part he's playing great, but how about after? You know, so they don't, right?
You can see the 3 hits of meth before you go to the
exactly. Come on, watch the whole film. Don't watch the fucking trailer, man. Like, I don't know. Trailers are another thing nowadays. Oh, that's they all sound the same, yeah. So, but again, that's the thing. I think we're rallying against. Not rallying, but that's the part of the fun, right? Is that volleying between what's the popular notion of things, and really again taking those culture cues and throwing it back at people, saying like, no, that's not what it is. Yeah.
Despite your best intentions, counterculture will become culture.
Yeah. Well, it will be co-opted, but then it will resist. Then it'll still go back. You know, so. Some people might think like, but when will it end? It's not gonna end, man. No. You gotta keep on doing it. That's part of fun. There's always an assumption like, there must be some. The buck stops here.
Take this for example. I moved here about 7 years ago, and you couldn't find like I'm looking for a hip hop club. Can't find 7 years ago in Bangkok. You're not finding hip hop in many places. The places you do find it is like Mix, which is like famous for where people go to find prostitutes.
Oh, is that the double X mix?
Yeah.
I saw in the cab today.
Exactly. So
Shit.
why it's there is
Okay.
because the taxi gets a commission if he brings you.
Okay, that's
Right?
why I thought so.
And you go under the hotel and it's a bunch of prostitutes waiting to fish men up. You know what I
Okay.
mean? But like, yo, they used to have some pretty lit hip hop at Mix. So
Which goes together.
Yeah.
yeah, but like, so if you go to like, there's certain club owners who play hip hop today who 5 years ago would say, "We'll never play this."
Like nowadays.
Why? Because they didn't like the crowds it brought. Like it's about especially hospitality industry, the proposals they write. You know, there's a certain demographic and tax bracket that they're trying to attract.
Yes. Yes.
So in their mind it's like, well, hip hop isn't it. But now I just turned 30, right? Most people my age now have had several years of career. You know, they have disposable income now, and they like hip hop.
Yeah.
They like Biggie Smalls. So in the past 2 years, there's been a mushroom of hip hop bars all over Bangkok. There's Violet. There's Hip Hop Sushi. There's Penta. There's like all these places that all of a sudden they're like, yo, this is the thing now. And thanks to also there's a show called Rap is Now, which was a popular YouTube channel of battles.
Okay.
And then Show Me the Money, which is like the voice, but for rap. So there's Show Me the Money and The Rapper, which are basically the same show. And coincidentally, those two shows came on the air 2 years ago, about 2.5 years ago. So that's what really, that was the cosign.
Okay.
The culture now, Thai culture now accepts, mainstream Thai culture now accepts hip hop. But like, yo, there's been hip hop bars for years, like for the Beat Lounge has been around for years, right? Holding it down for hip hop culture in Bangkok. But only up till now, people have caught up. The culture has caught up to like, yeah, this is what we're about now. We accept it. We want it. You go, all the TV commercials have rappers in it. So like, it becomes the counterculture becomes the culture, the common accepted culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so all this, the venue you're mentioning has been around forever. I mean, they persevered, stayed on.
Yeah, man.
Keep on doing it. That's important.
Yeah,
That's important. Yeah.
Tuesday nights at the Beat Lounge, they have their scratch jam. So it's like
Keep it up.
DJs just little cipher of scratching.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
So it's
nice.
I used to call it, well, I still call it the hip hop temple in Thailand. The Beat Lounge.
The Beat Lounge. Cool.
And but yeah, again, it's like, but Spider Monkey, who is the proprietor of the Beat Lounge, he's hip hop through and through. So even when it's tough, he's not there to meet someone's budget proposals or whatever. You know, he's like, this is my shit, this is my life, this is my culture. So I will put my flag on, and every Tuesday I'm gonna be here scratching. Come see me if you like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, but now it's popular hip hop sushi. Like, what is that? Like, but like, yo, if you like sushi, go listen to it. You know, and now it works.
Yeah.
It's allowed rather.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, that's
Good
it.
drink.
Yeah. Wow.
Finger food.
Wow.
And I mean, you know, what's not popular today will become popular tomorrow. Like, I'll bring up trap. It used to not be popular. Now it's the thing. Now, if it's hip hop, it's probably gonna be trap music. So it's like whatever works, man. Like, yeah, you can't be too snobby about it.
Yeah. Let everybody in. Of course, there'll be posers and whatever, but they'll just fall by the wayside. Because it doesn't matter. People are so concerned. I'm like, how about that? No, it doesn't matter. Do it. Just do it, man.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like if you understand that people's attention is on something, it's worth giving your attention to, or understanding what is this phenomenon that's happening. You know, like why all of a sudden there's purple lights in bars, or you know what I mean? Like, why all of a sudden people are wearing this certain shoe. If you can understand that, then you can understand the wiring in culture and how people are making the decisions.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's so important. That's what's missing a lot for me in education. Trying to understand things. You know, you might be studying sociology, business, but understanding just how culture operates and the subculture and the countercultures, it's not there. and a lot of kind of like especially educational discourse. It's very important.
I'd say sometimes it could be. So I'm actually right now I'm reading this book called People's History of Malaysia.
Oh,
right?
okay. Oh, yeah, that's a good book, man.
It's,
yeah.
It's very insightful because
Yes,
I didn't know shit about Malaysia.
I learned a lot about Malaysia myself reading these books.
So, like, you know, the things that get left out of Malaysian history, you know, are very important to understand the context of what's going on in Malaysia today. Malaysia's a melting pot of cultures. You know, you have Indian, Chinese, you have Malay, right?
And of course, there's all the others.
Exactly. And to understand, like, oh, wait a minute, the Chinese are here because the British were here, and the Indians also. But then you go, wait a minute, my Jamaican friends who are Chinese from Miami, it's the same thing. Their family was in Jamaica because the British brought them from China.
Shipping lanes.
You know what I mean? So, like, first of all, there's connection there on opposite sides of the planet, but also that cultural context of why are they in Jamaica? The slave trade. So understanding that is how you get to the wiring. You know, like if you're gonna hot wire a car, you need to know which of the wires that are gonna make the spark. And without the history of a culture, it's no chance to catch that. You know what I mean? You can do it surface level. That's what the pop is. You know, that's whatever.
You can stay there if you want, fine.
But if you're really trying to go deep and you're really trying to like pull something up, hit people in the head with it, you have to know the wiring. You have to know, like, okay, you know, that these two ethnic groups used to have this sort of historical conflict. Even though it's not what's going on today, it still informs a lot of the interactions that occur today. You know, like, and if you're just for example, it's very easy to just live in Thailand and just chill and not worry about what the hell's going on. You know what I mean? But and that's anywhere. And people will still accept you. You know, like Thai people. Oh, what's up? Oh, you can say this word. What?
There you go.
Right? You can get by, and you phone home like, yo, man, people love me out here. I'm mixing it up with the culture. I eat the food, and it's only pad thai. You know what I mean? So you could do that, but then it's also like, if you want to talk to the taxi driver and understand what are your conditions that you're here, and this is where Sar, you talked to him in the last time you did a podcast. I love Sar because he gives these insights that I could never get because I just don't have access to the culture. You know what I mean? And it just opens up your mind. It's like, yo, like, understand that, like, a taxi driver, he's here only a limited time. He came from the Northeast, and you know what I mean? Like, that type of shit. Like,
he's Thai, but he doesn't live in the city.
So, like, those
City's
insights.
Huge.
Like, and if you understand that, then you can, like, move in certain ways that, like, that people will bring you in deeper into the culture. You know what I mean? There's always, like, a level of, like, you can come into this space, like, you know, like,
of course, I think what you said about the access to culture is very important because that's what I see myself when I tour. I go somewhere. I mean, it I wouldn't say it forces me, but makes me want to know more about wherever I'm going, wherever I play. Sometimes even within Malaysia. You know, even Malaysia is not such a homogeneous. Even the races, when you say what is Malay, Malay is also kind of like different groups and Chinese. And you haven't dealt with Borneo yet. They're just like the whole circuit board is like, okay, how it's so. But it's important. I think that's what traveling does. But if you go just as a tourist, you can be blind to one side, just like. And again, I think a lot of Malaysians who come to Bangkok, it's all about holidays. You know, it's like shopping, you know, like platinum,
beaches.
And that's okay.
Platinum, it's okay.
That's
okay.
Okay.
But if you want to dig deeper, go in. And I think it's that's what I'm interested in. So you can go as a tourist. I'm not gonna say anything, but I know look you're different. But
bring the metal detector to the beach.
So interesting, man.
Man. So that for like I'm more on your wavelength. I'm trying to see what makes the culture tick. You know, I'm trying to see like, all right, like I want to learn the history. So like I had to go to Aceh to learn what was going on in Aceh. You know what I mean? I went to Malaysia. I went to a bookstore. I got that book, and now I'm learning what went on in Malaysia. You know what I mean? So like, and from that, the next time I go to Malaysia, I can say certain things that's like, yo, how you know about that?
Yeah,
like you know what I mean? What's up?
You probably already know stuff that a lot of Malaysians don't read, know about. You know? Yeah, it's true. So true, man. It's interesting. Yeah. Well, that's the journey of art making.
Yeah, man.
All of that, yeah, condense that in.
You've been also doing like talks as well as music, yeah, on this latest tour.
Yeah, this tour, yeah. Got invited for one in university. Yeah, I mean that lecture performance thing is something I've always wanted to kind of do, because I see that happening in theater a lot. Theater does a lot of that, right? Lecture performance, etc. It's Q&A at the end. But music, like I said again, like it's the format, right? Where you go on stage, thank you, everybody, then you fuck off the stage. Like that. There's no discourse.
Yeah.
But I get my discourse, my banter. I love bantering between songs, just break the ice initially. But then I found that that's interesting, and I realized people aren't bored when I'm talking. That was my fear. So I'm talking too long, maybe I'm boring the shit out of them. But I realized my job helps me a lot. Because being a lecturer, you gotta keep the students engaged. Sometimes you just say something, so you find different ways of assessing their attention. So I thought, I'll try this out. So it was a couple of years ago, 2 years ago maybe, I got in Penang, I did a lecture performance, then my university. And I found out that, it seems like the story of my journey, my storytelling, and maybe who I am,
lectures. What lectures have been about? Like your own perspective, or more?
I mean, I will always try. I would try to contextualize it with my songs and my journeys, my albums, and also then at the same time digress into things like that, the larger things like maybe a bit of my personal history, or like how I see things, But it's easy because you have a song coming up, when you feel like. Looks like I can't say anything anymore. Okay, the next song is, you get into that. That's why it's very different from stand-up. You just got a fucking mic, and it really has to be planned. So those lecture performances were more of that, because it's also me trying to indulge a bit on talking more. I think engaging more, because with music, I find sometimes I'm kind of limited with what I can do. I think hip-hop, there's a lot more space to kind of navigate with the stuff you do, because then you can fill it in. Whereas songs a bit different, because there's a certain perception by audiences how they should be entertained, and songs are pretty limited, right? With the kind of space, the lyric and chorus, there's only so much you can do unless where every song you change, but it's not part of the lexicon. Whereas I think hip hop, the lexicon is about adding, and you can kind of mix it up. So that I mean, like I might be doing folk, acoustic, or rock, or noise, etc. But I'm also informed by the practices of other kind of like music genres, because I think those are interesting. Yeah. I might not do beats, but it's maybe certain stuff you incorporate.
Yeah, you can always adapt something.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So that's the kind of stuff I'm trying to like talk to especially students about. I think they just, I'm scared they're absorbing the wrong thing. So that's when I'm coming in. I'm thinking like, I know the shit. So you gotta have that a bit like. It's not saying I'm right, but I feel that there's certain perspectives that's missing. I think, like through talking, I realized that people say, that was interesting, cool. So it was hit or miss. I was scared too. People were like, hey, your thoughts suck, man. Yeah. So you gotta exactly like when you do a stand-up thing, right? Like you gotta be prepared for that. So I was prepared for that, but it seems like okay. It's still, I'm personally not happy. I think I can be a bit more clear what I'm trying to say, etc. Maybe having a bit of flow, But yeah, it's me getting out of my comfort zone too. It's easy.
And I imagine, so like with a lecture, there's an intergenerational gap.
Yeah.
So even still, you have to find ways to tickle their mind.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
So like, if
visual aids can help. Yeah.
So if I'm, if you're gonna put me in front of a group of like 8th graders, right? I'm like, man, what am I gonna say for them to be like, oh, this guy is cool, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna maybe do it like references to like TikTok or Old Town Road, you know what I mean? Things that they know that like is in their like whatever you call collective consciousness. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like, so when I say a joke and it's triggered by like Old Town Road or Lil Nas X, they go, okay, cool. You're the older guy.
You make fun of that. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
You know what I mean? So like, and again, it's still culture. It's youth culture versus you.
Yeah. Accepting that difference. Yeah.
So like that's, to me, that's what that's why I say like you have the illest job, because it's on every dimension you have to find that middle ground.
Yeah, every time, man. And it's interesting because like friends who are in bands or running venues, they will say, kids nowadays don't understand. I said, like, how many kids do you know?
Yeah.
My clients are perpetually the same age. It's just like how
kids probably feel the same way.
Yeah.
Adults don't understand.
I mean, I don't know if you see Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused. He plays this guy who like about schoolgirls. I grow older, they stay the same age. But for me, it's similar. Like I'm going older, but not so much a schoolgirl bit. But my clients are always the same age. They're kids of that age, 18 to 22. Yeah.
Not fuck 'em.
So every year goes further. So I'm at an age where I'm like 42 now, and I'm looking at these kids are like, you could be my kids. When I was 20 and then I got hitched, you could be my kid. But that gap is kind of like you need to deflate that.
Yeah.
When I find that when I start playing my music or my video, and then probably they see me, it's like, well, I'm crazier than you. You guys should be at the peak of your craziness, man. You're like 21.
That's right.
Why am I still crazy? Something wrong with me? What? Like, so, but I think when you deflate that, then exactly. Whether you accept your different generations, okay. Because I think the more you try to resist, then that deflation is very important.
Yeah,
you get really close to each other. Yeah.
And again, usually those separations they're attached to some sort of power structure. So,
of course.
like especially in certain parts of the world where it's like, anytime there's like a old history of like student protests, it's students protesting, right?
Yeah. So
because there's one generation
who
is like, yo, wait a minute, we're part of this world too, we're part of this country too, but we have no power.
You've been ignoring us.
Yeah. So that interaction of deflating the gap, it's like you're bringing them in. It's like, no, you have a voice and it's worth something. So like if we can find those methods of identifying with each other, then we can work together to like structure our world, our politics, whatever it is. But with most kids, like it's like they might rock up to your class the first day and become shocked because they might be, like you said, you could be my kid, but their parent might be like that like super conservative, straight arrow person that this is the only context they've seen someone of your age in. And again, that's a power structure.
And you don't have to grow up to be your parents if you don't want to.
Exactly. And even still, or you can be your parents but still retain yourself. You know what I mean?
Retain yourself.
It's a negotiation. There's some things I look at. Oh, yo, my mom was right about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
But the only reason I didn't see it is because that gap was there.
Yeah.
That was filled with other bullshit. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So
True.
So yeah, man. I think that's what it is, yo. Like, whether it's art or teaching people, is you find the middle ground, try and communicate on the same level, give the people the respect they need, and they're gonna give you the same. You're gonna be the old geezer one day that's like 70 years old. Oh, fuck this, and you're gonna need those kids, because they're gonna be in power. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And yourself too. You gotta engage with those people older than you too, and I do that too. It's fascinating seeing older guys, and one day I'm gonna be like that too. Like, okay, let's get to that.
Straight up.
It is. Negotiations, constant.
What have you got coming up with Lyrical Lunacy?
So actually tomorrow we have a open mic show. So yeah, that's the most immediate thing. We're trying to
where's that at?
At Live Lounge, Sukhumvit Soy 13. So yeah, we have the open mic, and then 2 weeks after we have a poetry slam.
Nice.
Lyrical Lunacy is all about spoken word slam culture, man. So we're just trying to proliferate that.
Nice. There's a bit of that happening in KL,
Oh, man.
There's a lot going on there.
KL is probably one of the more developed places where you find spoken word. They have all kinds of spoken word nights over there. Some of the like better poets in the region come from KL.
Yeah. Interesting.
So big up Malaysia, spoken word. So yeah, I look up to KL a lot when it comes to poetry.
Cool. It's interesting you brought it up because like even though I play music, sometimes majority of times I think my audience isn't people who go to watch a music gig. You get it? If I play bookstores or I play some of the most spoken words, they're closer to my audience. They're closer to what I'm trying to really. I'm not there to entertain you, play Hotel California shit. You know, so they go like, what is this? You know, like, I thought music is, you know, no, fuck you, music's not that only. You know, so, and when I'm saying, you know, sometimes that's what my work's all about sometimes. But that's what I find fascinating. But I think that just getting the different gradients of what this is all about is very important.
What is music to you?
Music to me, engaging, I think. Just engagement with your audience and the world around you. It's me trying to understand the world. And that is not, you know, the pop star thing is like, nobody understands me, please understand me. It's all about the me. Whereas I'm the opposite. It's like, I want to know what's going on, you know. So but it's tough to, I mean, it's not tough, but because when you perform, all eyes are on you, right? When you're on stage. So people assume that you must be full of yourself. It's no. This is just the medium. This is the format. This is a stage.
No way around it.
You know way around it. You got what?
But yeah, you're right. There is a degree of I'm the shit.
Yeah, you gotta have that. You gotta have that. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
It's more like just about protection.
It's like being
a suit of armor for yourself.
By being a pilot, you know. That's why pilots have the right to go around. Yeah, I'm the fucking captain, but at the same time, I've got this responsibility.
They get a little badge. Yeah. They get a nice hat and a shirt.
Yeah, but it's a fucking responsibility. They're gonna bring a bunch of people in the fucking sky who have no complete control over what's gonna happen. But you know, there's a degree of responsibility, and it's not for everybody. You know, so I think that's probably all this. Yeah, pop culture sometimes make it seems like anybody can do it, but it is democratic. I think everybody has the ability to do it, but sometimes it's not maybe the standard you had assumed you could be.
That's right.
You know, people put this high standard. I want to sing like Adele, but you can't. Just sing as yourself. Maybe that's who you are. Yeah. Your limitations could be your fucking signature, right? Only you can play 2 chords. Just play the fucking 2 chords.
You know.
Yeah, then that's you, man.
Play what you know until you're comfortable with it, and then you like pick a little further.
Yeah.
Well, a duct tape banana was a hit.
Oh my god,
you know what I mean?
that's amazing. Fuck, man. Yeah.
Someone might say, "Oh, what does the world come to?"
Yeah.
Well, it came to eating it.
Yeah.
But then the guy who did it was like, "Yo, I bet you I could do this."
Yes. And he did it. And yeah. And the fucking guy ate it, and it's okay. Got another banana.
I'll come around every week until it spoils, until I run out of bananas.
Azmyl, you're gonna be playing here tonight. Where else are you playing?
Yeah. So tonight here at Jam, tomorrow in Book in the Otherness, just on the city limits of Bangkok. Well, I was there the last time just to visit. Really cool bookstore that has craft beer. I was there.
Which direction?
I think northwest.
Northwest across the river?
I think so.
Yeah.
So I just asked them, hey, you guys do like bookstore gigs? Yeah. Sure, I'll come back again. Yeah, so this was this, yeah. So then the other one is just another in Korat, I think Jim Thompson Farm. It's probably just something informal on Saturday night. But still, I get to go there. I mean, the main thing is going there, right? It's not just, hey, I'm a rock star, walk up, hey, Korat, what's up? That's not the point. That's not the point. But yeah, so that wraps up my tour. So I've been around a good year. Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thanks a lot for coming down. Thanks, Pablo.
Yeah, man.
Welcome.
Azmyl.
Pleasure for having me.
So,
yeah. All right. So yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
You, the audience.
Get back to your chores.
Do your homework.